We will be reading chapter 16 of Marked by PC Cass and Kristen Cass. That's it. Stevie Ray had stopped, looking uncomfortable in a pallet jacket in front of the steps that led to a round brick building situated on a little hill overlooking the eastern part of the wall surrounding the school. Huge oaks wrapped it in darkness within darkness, so I could barely make out flickers of either gas or candles lighting up the entrance. Not one speck of light was coming from the darkened windows that were long and arched and seemed to be made of stained glass. Okay, well, thanks for the Toms. I tried to sound brave and save a place for me. This really can't take that long. I should be able to get done here and join you guys for dinner. Don't rush, really. You might meet someone you like and want to hang out. Don't worry about it if you do. I won't be mad, and I'll just tell Darian and the twins that you're reconnecting. I'm not going to become one of them, Stevie Ray. I believe you, she said, but her eyes looked suspiciously big and round. So I'll see you soon. Okay, see you soon, she said, and started to follow the sidewalk back to the main building. I didn't want to watch her walk away. She looked all forlorn and spink puppy-like. Instead, I climbed up the steps and told myself that this was going to be no big deal. Nothing worse than the time my Barbie sister talked to me into going to cheerleading camp with her. I don't know what the hell I've been thinking. At least this Francis school wouldn't last a week. They'll probably cast another circle, which was actually very cool. Do some unusual praying like Nefer did, and then break for dinner. That would be my cue to smile nicely and slip out easy peasy. The torches on either side of the thick wooden door were lit by gas and not the raw flame scones used in Nix's temple. I reached my hand toward a heavy iron door knocker, but with a sound that was disturbingly like a sigh, it opened away from my touch. Marry me, Zoey. Oh my God, it was Eric. He was wearing all black, and his dark curly hair and his unseemly blue eyes reminded me of Clark Kent. Well, okay, without the dorky glasses and the nerdy slick back hair. So I suppose that would mean he actually reminded me again of Superman. Well, without the cape or tights or the big ass. Then the babbling in my head totally shut itself off with his oil damp finger slid over my forehead, tracing the 5 points of the pentagon. Blessed be, he said. Blessed be, I replied, and would have internally grateful that my voice didn't croak or crack or squeak. Aw man, he smelled good, but I couldn't place what he smelled like. It wasn't any of the tired overdose colognes guys apply by the gallons. He smelled like the forest at night, just after it rained. Something earthy and clean, and oh, you can come on in, he was saying. Oh, thanks, I said brilliantly. I stepped inside and then I stopped. The interior was one big room. The circular shaped walls were draped in black velvet, totally blocking the windows. In the silver moonlight, I could see that under the heavy curtains there were weird shapes, which started to freak me out until I realized that, hello, it's a rec room. They must have shoved the TVs and game stuff to the sides of the room and covered them so everything would look well creepier. Then my attention was captured by the circle itself. It was standing in the middle of the room and made up entirely of candles in tall red glass containers like the prayer candles you can buy in Mexican food sections of the grocery store that smell like roses and old ladies. There must have been more than 100 of them, and they lit up the kids who were standing in a loose circle behind them talking and laughing with a ghostly light that was tinted red. The kids were all wearing black, and I noticed right away that none of them were wearing any emerald ring insignias. but each had a thick silver chain that glistened around their necks, from which an odd symbol dangled. It looked like two crescent moons positioned back to back against a full moon. There you are, Zoe. Aphrodite's voice slid across the room just ahead of her body. She was wearing a long black dress that flashed with onyx beading, reminding me really of a dark version of Nephryte's beautiful gown. She had on the same necklace as the others, but hers was bigger and outlined in red jewels that might have been garnets. Her blonde hair was loose and draped around her like a gold veil. She was entirely too quick. Eric, thanks for making Zoe welcome. I can take it from here. She sounded normal, and she even rested her manicured fingertips on Eric's arm for a second, and what the uniform might think of just a friendly dresser, but her face told a different story. It was set and cold, and her eyes seemed to blaze into his. Eric barely gave her a look, and he definitely moved his arm away from her touch. Then he gave me a quick smile, and without glancing at Aphrodite again, walked away. Great, exactly what I didn't need was to get in the middle of a nasty breakup. But I couldn't seem to help the fact that my eyes followed him across the room. Stood me again. Sobbed. Aphrodite cleared her throat, and I tried unsuccessfully not to look like I'd rather be. I've been caught doing something I shouldn't have been doing. Her slick, mean smile said there was absolutely no doubt that she noticed my interest in Eric and his interest in me. And again, I wondered if she knew it had been me in the hall the day before. Well, it wasn't like I could ask her. You need to hurry, but I bought something for you to change into. Aphrodite was talking quickly as she motioned for me to follow her to the girls' restroom. She threw a disgusting look over her shoulder. It's not like you can come to a daughter's ritual dressed like that. Once we were in the bathroom, she barely handed me a dress that had been hanging from one of the partitions and kind of pushed me into the stall. You can put your clothes on that hanger and carry them back to the dorm like that. There didn't seem to be any arguing with her anyway. I felt like an outsider enough as it was. Being blessed differently made me feel like I had shown up at a party dressed like a duck, but no one had told me it was a costume party, so everyone else was wearing jeans. I quickly got out of my clothes, and slid the black dress over my head, sighing with relief when it fit. It was simple but flattering. The material was soft, clingy stuff that never wrinkles. It had long sleeves and a round neckline that showed most of my shoulders. Good thing I wore my black bra. All around the neckline, the edge of the long sleeves, and the hem, which was right above my knee, were sewn with little sparkle beads. It was really pretty. I slipped my shoes back on, thinking happily that a nice pair of ballet flats can go with just about any outfit and stepped out of the store. Well, at least it fits, I said, but I noticed Aphrodite wasn't looking at that. She was looking at my mark, which bugged the crap out of me. Okay, my mark is colored in. Get over it already. I didn't say anything, though. I mean, this was her party, and I was guest. Translation, I was totally outnumbered, so I better be good. I'll be leading the ritual, of course, so I'm gonna be too busy to hold your hand through it. Okay, I should have just kept my mouth shut, but she was wearing on my lap. Look at her, Daddy. I don't need you to hold my hand. Her eyes narrowed, and I braced myself for another psycho girl scene. Instead, she smiled, a totally non-nice smile that made her look like a snarling dog. Not that I was calling her a bitch, but the angling seemed scary. Of course, you don't need your handheld. You'll just breeze right through this little ritual like you breeze through everything else here. I mean, after all, you are Nephryte's new favorite. Wonderful. On top of the Eric issue and the weirdness over my Mark issue, she was jealous that Nephrite was my mentor. Aphrodite, I don't think I'm Nephryte's new favorite. I'm just new. I try to sound reasonable, and I even smile. Whatever. So, are you ready? I gave up trying to reason with her and nodded, wishing this whole ritual thing would hurry up and be over. Fine, let's go. She led me out of the restroom and over to the circle. I recognized two girls we walked up to as two of the hags from hell, who had followed her around in the cafeteria. Only instead of wearing purse face, I was just 8-11 expressions. They were smiling warmly at me. No, I wasn't fooled, but I made my face smile too. When in enemy territory, it's best to blend in and look suspicious and or stupid. Hi, I'm Inyo, said the taller of the two. She was, of course, blonde, but her long, flowing locks were more the color of weaving wheat than gold. Although in the candlelight it was hard to be sure which was a more appropriate description, I still didn't believe she was a natural blonde. Hi, I said. I'm Nimio, said the other girl. She was obviously mixed and had a gorgeous combination of really pretty coffee with lots of cream skin and excellent thick curly hair, which probably had never had the nerve to nap up on her for an instant, no matter the humidity. The two of them were freakishly perfect. Hi, I said again, feeling more than a little claustrophobic. I moved into the space they created between them. You three enjoy the ritual, Aphrodite said. Oh, we will. Enyo and Daniel said together. The three of them shared a look that made my skin crawl. I turned my attention away from them before my better judgment won out over my pride, and I bolted from the room. I had a good view of the inner area of the circle now, and again it was similar to the one next to the temple, except this one had a chair pulled up beside the table, and there was someone sitting in it. What kind of sitting? Actually, the whoever was slumped down with the hood of a cloak covering his or her face. Her head. Well, anyway, the table was draped with the same black velvet as the walls, and there was a goddess statue on it, a bowl of fruit and bread, several goblets, and a pitcher, and a knife. I squinted to be sure what I was seeing right. Yep, it was a knife. It had a bone handle and a long wicked carving blade that looked entirely too sharp to be used for cutting fruit or bread safely. A girl I thought I recognized from the dorm was lighting several fat sticks of incense that sat in ornately carved incense holders on the table and totally ignoring whoever was slumped in the chair. Geez, was that kid asleep? Immediately the air began to fill with smoke, and I swear it was green ting and curl goes like around the room. I expected it to smell sweet like the incense at Nix's temple, but when a feathery wisp of smoke reached me and I breathed it in, I was surprised by its bitterness. It was kind of familiar, and I frowned, trying to figure out what it reminded me of. Crap. What was it? It was almost like bay leaf with a cloverly middle. I had to remember to thank Grandma Redbird later for teaching me about spices and their smells. A sniff again. Intrigue in my head felt a little woozy, weird. Okay, the incense was odd. It seemed to change as it filled the room, like expensive perfume that changed with each person who wears it. I breathed it in again. Yep, clove and bay. But there was something at the end of it, something that made the scent finish tangy and bitter, dark and mystic, and alluring in its naughtiness. Then I knew. Well, hey, there were filling the room with pot smoke mixed with spices. Unbelievable. I stood up to appear pressure, and for years said no to even the most polite offers to try one of those gross-looking homemade joints that get passed around at parties, and why not? What not? I mean, please. Is that even sanitary? And just exactly why would I want to do a drug that made me want to obsessively eat fattening snack foods? And I know where I stood, immense immersing pot smoke. Sighed. Kayla would never believe it. Then feeling paranoid, probably another side effect of the pod invasion, I looked around the circle. Sure, I see a professor who is ready to leap in and haul us all away to I demo. Something unspeakable horror like boot camp Murphy sent all of his troubled teen guests too, but thankfully unlike the circle in Nix's temple there were no adult vamps here. Only about 20 kids. They were talking quietly and acting like the total illegal marijuana incident was no big deal. Potheads. Trying to breathe shadowy, I turned to the girl to my right. When in doubt or panic, make small talk. So, Demia is, well, a different name. Does it mean something special? Demio means trouble, she said, smiling smoothly. From my other side, the tall blonde chimed in perfectly, and India means warlike. Huh? I said, trying hard to look like, yeah. Periel, which means wasp, is the one lighting the incense, explained India. We got the Greek names from Greek mythology. They were the three sisters of the Gorgon and Celia. Myth says they were born as hags who shared an eye, but we decided that was probably just bullshit male domination pomegranate written by human men who wanted to keep strong women down. Really? I didn't know what else to say. Really? Yeah, Daniel said. Human men suck. They should all die, Daniel said. Oh, on that lovely thought, the music suddenly started making it impossible, thankfully, to talk. Okay, the music was disturbing. It had a deep, pulsing beat that was ancient as well as modern, like someone had mixed one of those nasty booty-humping music songs with a tribal mating dance, and then, much to my shock, after I began to dance away around the circle, yes, I suppose you could say she was hot. I mean, she had a good body, like she moved like Catherine Zeta-Jones in Chicago. But somehow it didn't work for me, and I don't mean because I'm not gay, even though I'm not gay. It didn't work because she seemed like a crude imitator of Aphrodite. Dance too, she walks in beauty. If this music was a poem, it would be more like some hoe grinds her booty. During Aphrodite's crotch failing display, everyone was naturally staring at her. So I looked around the circle, pretending that I wasn't really looking for Eric. Until, oh crap, I found him almost directly opposite of me, and he was the one kid in the room not watching Aphrodite. He was watching me. Before I could figure out whether I should look away, smile at him, or wave or whatever, Damien had said to smile at the kid, and Damien was a self-proclaimed expert on guys. The music stopped, and I looked from Eric to Aphrodite. She was standing in the middle of the circle, in front of the table. Purposely, she picked up a big purple pillar candle in one hand and a knife in another. The candle was lit, and she carried it, holding it in front of her like a beacon. To the side of the circle where I noticed one yellow candle nestled amongst the red ones. I didn't need pondering from warlike or terrible yeesh to turn to the east, as when ruffled my hair from the corner of my vision, I could see that she lit the yellow candle and now raised the knife, slashing a pentagram in the air as she spoke. O winds of storm. Nix's name I do call thee forth. Cast thy blessing I do ask upon the magic which shall be worked here. I will admit she was good, though not as powerful as Nephrite. It was obviously she was practiced voice control and the silly sound of her words carried easily. We turned to the south, and she approached the red pillar candle among the other red ones, and I could feel what I was already recognized as the power of fire and the magic circle wash over my skin. Of O fire of lightning, in Nix's name I do call thee forth. Ring of storms and power of magic, I ask your aid in the spell I do work here. Return again, and along with Nefertiti I felt flushed and unexpected, drawn to the blue candle nestled within the red ones. Even though it was thoroughly freaked me out, I had to keep myself from stepping from the circle and join her in the invocation of war. O Taurus of rain, in Nyx's name, I do call thee forth. Join me with your drowsy strength in performing this most powerful of rituals. What in the hell was wrong with me? I was sweating, and instead of feeling like a little warm like during earlier ritual, the mark on my forehead was hot, burning hot, and I swear I could hear the roar of the sea in my ears. And normally I turn again to the right. O earth, deep and damp, in Nyx's name, I do call thee forth, that I may feel the earth herself move in on the roar of the storm of power, which does come from when you aid me in this rite. Aphrodite sliced the air again, and I could feel the palm of my right hand tingle, as if it ate to hold the knife and cut the hair. I smelled cut grass and heard the cry of a whirl, poor will, like it was Nestle, invisible in the air beside me. Aphrodite moved back to the center of the circle, placing the still burning purple candle back on its place in the middle of the table. She completed the casting. O spirit, wild and free in its name, I do call thee to me. Answer me, stay with me during this mighty ritual, and grant me thy goddess power. And somehow I knew what she was going to next. I could hear the words inside my mind, inside my own spirit. When she raised the goblet and began walking in the circle, I felt her words, even though she didn't have the voice and power of Nephrite. What she said within me, like I was burning from the inside out. This is the time of the fullness of our goddess moon. There is magnificence to the night. The ancients knew the mysteries of this night and used them to strengthen themselves and to split the veil between worlds and have avengers we only dream about today. Secret, mysterious, magical, true beauty and power in vampire form, not tainted by human rules or law. We are not humans. With this, her voice did ring out against the wall as very much as Nephrites had earlier. And all your dark daughters and sons act tonight, and this rite is that we position each full moon for the past year. Breathe this power within us so that, like the mighty felines of the wild, we know the length supplies of our animal brethren, and we are not bound by human chains or caged by their ignorant weakness. Aphrodite had stopped in front of me. I knew I was flushed and breathing hard, just as she was. She raised the goblet and offered it to me. Drink, Zoey, red bird, and join us in asking thanks for what is ours by the right of blood and body, and the mark of the great change, the mark that she had already touched you with. Yes, I know. I should probably said no, but how? And suddenly didn't want to. I definitely didn't like or trust Aphrodite, but wasn't what she was saying actually true? My mother and stepfather's reactions to my mark came back and hard and clear in my memory, along with Kayla's look of fear and Drew and Dustin's revision, and how no one had called me or even text messaged me since I've been gone. They just let me be dumped here to deal with a new life all on my own. It made me sad, but it also made me mad. I grabbed the goblet from Aphrodite and took a big drink. It was wine, but it didn't taste like the wine in the other moon ritual. This one was sweet too, but there was a spice to it that tasted like nothing I ever experienced before. It caused an explosion of sensation in my mouth that traveled with a hot, bittersweet trail down my throat and filled me with a dizzy desire to drink more and more of it. Blessed be, Aphrodite hissed at me, and she jerked the goblet from me, slobbing some of the red liquid over my fingers. Then she gave me a tight, trembling, triumphant smile. Blessed be, I replied automatically, head still reeling with the taste of the wine. She moved to Inyo, offering her the goblet, and I couldn't stop myself from licking my fingers to get some more taste of the wine that spilled there. It was beyond delicious, and it smelled familiar. And through the whoosh of dizziness in my head, I couldn't concentrate enough to figure out where I smelled something that incredible before. It hardly took any time for everybody to travel around the circle, giving each of the kids a taste of the goblet. I watched her closely, wishing I could have more as she returned to the table. She lifted the goblet again. Great and magical goddess of night and of the full moon, she who rides through the thunder and the triumph, leading the spirits and the elder ones, beautiful and awesome one, who even those most ancient must obey. Aid us in what we ask. Fill us with your power and magic and strength. And she opened the goblet, and I watched Jessie as she drank it until she drained the last drop. When she finished drinking, the music started up again. In time with it, she made her way back around the circle, dancing and laughing as she blew out each candle and told each animate goodbye. And somehow, as she was moving around the circle, my vision got all screwed up because her body rippled and changed, and suddenly it seemed as if I was watching Nephirite again. Only now she was a younger, raw version of the high priestess. Marry meet and marry part and marry meet again, she finally said. We all responded while I blinked and my vision cleared, and the weird image of Aphrodite as Nephirite faded, as did the burning of my mark. But I could still taste the wine on my tongue. It was way strange. I don't like alcohol. Seriously, I just don't like the way it tastes. But there was something about this wine that was delicious beyond even good via dark chocolate truffles. I know, it's hard to believe, and I still couldn't figure out why it somehow seemed familiar. Then everyone started to talk and laugh as the circle broke up. The gaslights came on overhead, making us blink from their brightness. I looked across the circle, trying to see if Eric might still be watching me, and a movement at the table caught my eye. The person who had been slouching motionless during the entire ritual was moving. He kind of jerked around, awkwardly pulling himself more into a sitting position. The hood on the dark cloak fell back, and I was shocked to see the bright orange-red, bushy, unattractive hair and a pushy, too white and freckled face. It was that annoying Elliot kid. Very, very odd he was here. What could the dark daughters and sons want with him? I looked around the room again. Yep, as I suspected, there wasn't one ugly, dorky-looking kid present. Everyone, and I do mean everyone except Elliot, was attractive. He definitely didn't belong. He was blinking and yawning and looked like he'd been sniffing way too much of the instant. He lifted his head to wipe something off his nose, probably one of the boogers he liked to go speculating after, and I saw the white of the thick bandages that were wrapped around his wrist. What the? A terrible, crawly feeling worked its way up my spine. Ariel and Damien was standing not far from me, talking manly to the girl they called Ferrado. I walked over to them and waited until they were a lull in the conversation, pretending that my stomach wasn't going to squeeze itself to death. I smiled and nodded in the general direction of Elliot. What's that kid doing here? Enio glanced at Elliot and rolled her eyes. He's nothing, just a refrigerator we used tonight. What a loser, Daniel said, disgusting with a sneer. He's practically human, Printer said, disgusted. No wonder all he's good for is a snack bar. My stomach felt like it was being turned inside out. Wait, I don't get it. Refrigerator? Snack bar? Nemo the Terrible turned her hearty chocolate-colored eyes to me. That's what we call humans, refrigerators and snack bars. You know, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or any of the meals in between were like Emil, practically pure. I still don't. I started, but Daniel interrupted me. Oh, come on. Don't pretend that you couldn't tell what was in the wine. That you didn't love the taste of it. Yeah, admit it, Zoey. It was obvious. You would have drowned the whole thing. You wanted it even more than we did. We saw you licking it off your fingers, and settling for her all into my personal space as she stared at my mark. That makes you some kind of freak, doesn't it? Somehow you're fleeing and vamp all in one and wanted more of the kid's blood than just a taste of blood. I didn't recognize my own voice. The word freak kept echoing around in my head. Yes, blood, Terrible said. I felt hot and cold at once and looked away from their knowing faces and right into Aphrodite's eyes. She was standing across the room from me, talking to Eric. Our eyes locked and slowly purposely she smiled. She was holding the goblet again and raised it in an almost incredible salute to me before taking a drink from it and turning back to laugh at something Eric just said. Holding myself together, I made a lame excuse to warlike, Terrible, and the Wasp. I walked calmly from the room. The instant I closed the thick wooden door of the rec hall behind me, I ran like a crazy blind person. I didn't know where I was going, except that I wanted to be away. I drank blood, that horrible Elliot kid's blood, and I liked it. And worse, that delicious smell had been familiar because I smelled it before when Heath's hand had been bleeding. It hadn't been a new cologne I'd been drawn to. It had been his blood. And I smelled it again in the hall yesterday when Aphrodite had slit Eric's thigh and I wanted to lick his blood too. I was a freak. Finally I couldn't breathe and I collapsed against the cool stone of this blue protective wall, grasping for air and puking up my guts. Chapter 17. Shakily, I wiped the back of my hand across my mouth and then stumbled away from the puke spot. I refused to even consider what I puked up and how it must have looked until I came to a giant oak that had grown so close to the wall that half of its branches hung over the other side. I leaned against the tree, concentrating on not getting sick again. What had I done? What was happening to me? Then, from somewhere in the limbs of the oak, I heard a meow. Okay, it wasn't really your normal, average cat-like meow. It was more like a grumpy meow or snort. I looked up. Perched on the limb that was rustling against the wall was a small orange cat. She was staring at me with huge eyes, and she definitely looked disgruntled. How did you get up there? Meow, she said, sneezed, and inched her way along the branch, clearly trying to get. Well, come on, kitty, 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 I coaxed. She said, creeping forward about one of her little paws. That's it. Come on, baby girl. Move your little tiny patties this way. Yes, I was disappointing my freak out and channeling it into saving the cat, but the truth was I couldn't think about what just happened. Not now. It was too soon. Too fresh. So the cat was an excellent distraction. Plus, she looked familiar. Come on, baby girl. Come on. I kept up a conversation with her as I poked the toe of my flats into the rough brick of the wall and managed to pull myself up far enough so I could grab onto the lowest part of the branch the cat was on. Then I was able to use the branch as a kind of a rope to climb up farther up the wall. The whole time talking to the cat while she kept complaining at me. Finally, I got within touching reach of her. We stared at each other for a long time, and I started to wonder if she knew about me. Could she tell I just tasted and liked blood? Did I have blood puke breath? Did I look different? Had I grown fangs? Okay, that last question was ridiculous. Adult vamps don't have fangs, but still. She meowed at me again and moved a little closer. I reached out and scratched the top of her head so that her ears went down, and she closed her eyes, purring. You look like a little lioness, I told her. See how much nicer you are when you are not complaining? Then I blinked in surprise, realizing why she seemed so familiar. You were in my dreams, and a little happiness pushed through the wall of sickness and fear inside me. You're my cat. The cat opened her eyes, yawned, and sneezed again as if to comment on why it had taken me so long to figure it out. With a grunt of effort, I stumbled up so that I was sitting on the wide top of the wall beside the branch where the cat was perched. With a kitty sigh, she jumped delicately off the branch and on top of the wall and walked on her tiny white paws over to me and crawled into my lap. There didn't seem to be anything for me to do except to scratch her on the head for some more. Some more. She closed her eyes and purred loudly. I petted the cat and tried to still the tumult in my mind. The air smelled like it might rain, but the night was unusually warm for the end of October, and I put my head back, breathing deeply and letting the silver moonlight that peeked through the clouds calm me. I looked at my cat. Well, never said that we should sit in the moonlight. I glanced up at the night sky again. It would be better if the stupid clouds would blow away, but still. I had only just spoken the words, and a gust of wind whistled around me, and suddenly blowing away the wispy clouds. Well, thanks, I called out to nothing peculiar. That was a very convincing wind. The cat muttered, reminding me that I had the nerve to quit scratching her ears. I think I'll call you Nala, because you're a little lioness, I told her, resuming my scratching. You know, baby girl, I'm so glad I found you today. I really needed something good to happen to me after the night I had. You would not believe a real weird smell drifted up to me. It was so odd that I broke off what I was saying. What was that? I sniffed and wrinkled my nose. It was a dry, old smell, like a house that had been closed up for too long, or somebody scary old basement. It wasn't a good smell, but it also wasn't so gross that it made me want to gag. It was just wrong, like it did belong out here in the open at night. Then something caught the corner of my eyesight. I looked down the long, winding brick wall. Standing there, half turned away from me, like she wasn't sure which way she wanted to go, was a girl. The light from the moon and my new, improved feeling ability to see well at night let me see her, even though there was no outside lights near this part of the wall. I felt myself tense. Had one of those hateful dark daughters followed me? No. Wait, did I feel like dealing with any of their crap tonight? I must have actually voiced that frustration groan I thought I had made in my mind, because the girl looked up to where I was sitting on top of the wall. I gasped in shock and felt a shudder. Fear skittered through me. It was Elizabeth, Elizabeth, no last name kid who was supposed to be dead. Though she saw me, her eyes, which were weird, glowing red and widened. Then she made an eye-shrieking sound before whirling around and disappearing with inhuman speed into the night. At the same instant, Nala arched her back and hissed with such factory her little body shook. It's okay, I said over and over, trying to calm the cat in me. Both of us were shaking, and Nala was still growling in her low throat. It couldn't have been a ghost. It couldn't have been. It was just a weird kid. Probably scared her, and she was, Zoey, is that you? I jumped and almost fell off the wall. It was too much for Nala. She gave another tremendous hiss and nearly from my lap to the ground. Completely and utterly freaked out, I grabbed the branch for balance and scurried out into the night. Who is it? I called over the pounding of my heart. Then I blinked by the beams of two flashlights aimed directly at me. Of course, it's her. Like I couldn't recognize my own best friend's voice. Geez, she hadn't been gone that long. Kayla, I said, trying to shield my eyes from the glare of the flashlights with my hand, which was shaking like crazy. Well, I told you we'd find her, a guy's voice says. You always want to give up too soon. Heath, maybe I was dreaming. Yeah, woohoo, we found you, baby. Heath yelled, and even in that awful flashlight glare, I could see him hurl himself at the wall, and then start to scramble up like a tall, blonde football-playing monkey. Incredible relief it was him and not a boogie monster. I calmed down to him. Heath, be careful. If you fall, you're going to break something. Well, unless he landed on his head, then he'd probably be okay. Not me, he said, pulling himself up and over so that he was sitting beside me, straddling the wall. Hey, Zoey, check it out. Look at me, I'm king of the world, he yelled, throwing out his arms, grinning like a total fool, and breathing alcohol-scented air all over me. No wonder I refused to go out with him. Okay, there's no need to forever make fun of my unfortunate ex-incarnation with Leonardo. I glared at him, feeling more like myself than I had in hours. Actually, it's kind of like my unfortunate ex-infantry with you, only it didn't last as long and you didn't make a bunch of cheesy but cool movies. Hey, you're still not mad about Dustin and Drew, are you? Forget them. They're retards, he said, giving me his puppy dog look, which used to be really cute when he was in 8th grade. Too bad the cuteness had stopped working for him about 2 years ago. And anyway, we came all the way over here to bust you out. What? I shook my head and squinted at him. Wait, turn those flashlights off. They're killing my eyes. If we turn them off, we can't see, he said. Fine. Turn them away. Then turn them away. Point them over there or something. I gestured out far away from the school and me. He turned the beam of the one he'd been clutching out into the night, and so did Kayla. I was able to drop my hand, which I was pleased to see. I quit shaking and stopped squinting. Heath's eyes widened when he saw my mouth. Check it out. It's colored in now. Whoa. It's like on TV or something. What, Kayla? Well, it was nice to see that some things never change. Heath was still Heath. Cute, but not the brightest crayon in the pack. Hey, what about me? I'm here too, you know, Kayla's called. Someone help me get up there, but be careful. Let me put my new purse down. Oh, and I better take off these shoes. Zoey, you would not believe the sale you missed yesterday at Baker's. All of this summer shoes totally on closeout. I mean, Sarah's closeout. 70% off. I got 5 pairs for help her up. I told Heath now it's the only way she'll stop talking. Yep. Some things didn't change. He scooted around until he was on his belly and leaned down to offer his hand to Kayla. Giggling, she grabbed them and let him haul her up on top of the wall with us. And it was while she was giggling and he was hauling her that I saw the unusual, unmaskable way Kayla grinned and giggled and blushed at Heath. I knew it all too well. I would have never been a mathematician. Kayla liked Heath. Okay, not like she liked Heath. Suddenly Heath's guilty comment about messing around on me at a party I missed made perfect sense. So how's Jared? I asked. Interruptly, totally stopping Kay, bubbles, giggles. Okay, I guess, I said without meeting my eyes. You guess. She moved her shoulders, and I saw that under her cute leather jacket she was wearing that tiny little cream lace cram we used to call the boob shirt, because not only did it show a lot of cleavage, but it was the color of skin, so it looked like it was showing more than it usually was. I demo. We haven't really talked that much in the past couple of days. She still hadn't looked at me, but she still glanced at Heath, who looked clueless. But that was really his only look, so my best friend was going after my boyfriend. Now that pissed me off, and for a second I wished it wasn't such a nice warm night. I wished it was cold and Kelly would freeze her overdeveloped boobs right off. From the north, the wind whipped around us suddenly, viciously bringing an almost frightening chill. Trying not to look obvious, Kale pulled her jacket close and giggled again, this time obviously nervously instead of first seriously, and I got another big whiff of beer. And something else, something that had been so recently printed into my senses that I was surprised that I hadn't smelled it right away. Kayla, you've been drinking and smoking. She shivered and blinked at me like a slower, just a couple. Beers, I mean. And well, actually had a little bitty joint. And I was really scared to come here. So I just had a couple tiny hits off it. She made some fortations, he said. But he never been good with words over 2 syllables. So it sounded like 4 ka fa ka sha. Since when have you started smoking pot? I asked. He he grinned. It's no big deal, Zoe. I just had a joint once in a while, but they're safer than cigarettes. I really hate it when he called me Zoe. Heath, I tried to sound patient. They're not safer than cigarettes, and even if they aren't, that's not saying much. Cigarettes are disgusting, and they kill you. And seriously, the biggest losers at school smoke pot. Besides the fact that you really cannot afford to kill any more brain cells. I almost added or sperms, but I didn't want to go there. He would definitely get the wrong idea if I made a reference to his main parts. Kayla said. What, Kayla? She was still clutching her jacket against the gel she had. Her eyes had changed from pitiful rabbit to sly-tailed twitching cat. I recognized the change. She did it constantly with people she didn't consider part of her girlfriend group. It used to drive me crazy, and I would yell at her and tell her she shouldn't be so mean, and she was now turning that crap on me. I said, nuh-uh, because not just losers smoke. Not at least, not just once in a while. You know those two really hot running backs who played for Union? Chris Ford and Brad Higgins. I saw them at Katie's party the other night. They smoked. Hey, they're not that hot, he said. Kayla ignored him and kept talking. And Morgan smokes sometimes. Morgan is as in Maggie's, who, as in Marjorie, who's a tigerette. Yes, I was pissed at Kay. But good gossip is good gossip. Yeah, and she is just got her tongue and her keyboard off and mouthed the word clip pierced. Can you imagine how much that must have hurt? What? What did she get pierced? He said. Nothing, Kay and I said together for a moment, sounding eerily like best friends we used to be. Kayla, you're not staying on subject again. The Union football players had always been drug capping. Hello, please recall their steroid use, which is why it took 16 years for us to beat them. Go Tigers, yeah, we kicked Union's ass, he said. I rolled my eyes at him. And Morgan has clearly began losing her mind, which is why she pierced her. I glanced at he then recognized her body and smoking. Tell me something normal. Who's smoking? Kay thought for a second. Me. I said, look, I just don't think it's smart. Well, you don't always know everything. The hateful glint was back in her eyes. I looked from her to Heath and then back to her. Clearly, you're right. I don't know everything. Her mean look turned startled and flustered out to mean again, and I only couldn't help comparing her to Stevie Ray, who, even though I only known for a couple of days, was absolutely totally sure would not ever go after my boyfriend, whether he was almost an ex or not. I also didn't think she would run away from me and treat me like I was a monster when I needed her the most. I think you should leave, I said to Kayla. Fine. It's probably a good idea for you to come back again. Not a good idea for you to come back again, either. She shrugged one shoulder so that her jacket fell open, and I could see the thin strap of the cami slip down her shoulder, making it clear she wasn't wearing a bra. Whatever, she said. Help her get down, Heath. Heath was dreaming pretty good at following simple directions, so he hoisted Kayla down. She grabbed the flashlight and looked back up at us. Hurry up, Heath. I'm getting really cold. Then she spun around and started marching off towards the road. Well, Heath said a little awkwardly. It did get cold all of a sudden. Yeah, it can now. I said absently and didn't pay much attention when the wind stopped suddenly. Hey, Zoe, I really did come to bust you out. No. Huh? Heath, look at my forehead. Yeah, you have a half moon thing. And it's colored in, which is weird because it wasn't colored in before. Well, it is now. Okay, Heath, focus. I've been marked. That means that my body is going through the change to become a vampire. Heath's eyes went from my mark and traveled down my body. I saw them hesitate at my boobs and then my legs, which made me realize they were showing all naked, almost up to my crotch, because my skirt had hiked up when I climbed on top of the wall. So whatever's happened to your body is cool with me. You look seriously hot. You always been beautiful, but now you look like a real goddess. He smiled at me and touched my cheek, gently reminding me why I liked him so much for a long time. Despite his faults, Heath could be really sweet, and he always made me feel completely beautiful. Heath, I said softly, I'm sorry, but things have changed. Not with me, they haven't. Taking me completely by surprise, he leaned forward, slipped a hand up my knee, and kissed me. I jerked back and grasped his wrist. Stop it, Heath. I'm trying to talk to you. How about you talk and I kiss? He whispered. I started to yell, tell him to no again. Then I felt it, his pulse under my fingers. It was beating hard and fast. I swear I could hear it, too. And as he leaned in to kiss me again, I could see the vein that ran along his neck. It moved, beating strong as the blood pumped through his body. Blood. His lips touched mine, and I remembered the taste of the blood in the goblet. The blood had been cold and mixed with wine. And from a weak loser kid who was a nothing. His blood would be hot and rich, sweeter than Elliot the refrigerator. Ow, damn, Zoey, you scratched me. He jerked his wrist away from my hand. Shit, Zoey, you made me bleed. If you didn't want me to kiss you, all you had to do was say so. He lifted his bleeding wrist to his mouth and sucked at the drop of blood that was glistening there. Then he raised his eyes to meet mine and he froze. He had blood on his lips. I could smell it. It was like the wine, only better, worlds better. The scent of it wrapped around me and made my hair on my arms rise. I wanted to taste it. I wanted to taste it more than anything. I heard myself whisper in a voice I didn't know. Yes, he said like he was in French. Yes, whatever you want. I'll do whatever you want. This time I leaned into him and touched my tongue to his lips, taking the drop of blood into my mouth where it exploded heat, sensation, and a rush of pleasure. I never know more, I rasped, like he lost the ability to speak and could only nod. He lifted his wrist to me. It was barely bleeding. Where I licked the tiny scratch line, he moaned. The touch of my tongue seemed to do something to the scratch, because instantly it started dripping blood faster. My hands were shaking as I raised his wrist to my mouth and pressed my lips against his warm skin. As Shriva moaned, "Oh my God, what are you doing to him?" Kayla's voice was a scream that pierced through the scarlet fog in my brain. I dropped Heath's wrist as though it had burned me. "Get away from him," Kayla shrieked. "Leave him alone." Heath didn't move. "Go," I told him. "Go and don't ever come back." "No," he said, looking and sounding oddly sober. "Yes, get out of here. Let him go." Kayla, if you don't shut up, I'll fly down there and suck every last bit of blood from your stupid, cheating cow body. I spit the words at her. She squeaked and took off. I turned back to Heath, who was still staring at me. "Now you need to go too. I'm not scared of you, Zoe. Heath, I'm scared of me enough for both of us, but I don't mind what you did. I love you, Zoe, more now than I ever did." "Stop it." I didn't mean to yell, but I caused him to flinch at the power that had filled my words. I swallowed hard and calmed my voice. "Please, just go, please." Then search for some way to make him leave. Kayla's probably going to get the cops right now. Neither of us need that. "Okay, I'll go, but I won't stay away." He kissed me hard and quick. I felt a white hot stab of pleasure when I tasted the blood that was still on our lips. Then he slid down the wall and disappeared into the darkness until all I could see of him was the little dot of light from his flashlight. And then finally, not even that. I wouldn't let myself think. Not yet. Moving methodically like a robot, I used the branch to steady myself as I climbed down. My knees were shaking so badly that I was able to walk only the couple of feet to the tree, where I snuck down to the ground, passing pressing my back against the security of its ancient bark. Nala materialized, hopping into my lap, as if she'd been my cat for years instead of minutes. And as my sobs started, she crawled from my lap to my chest to press her warm face against my wet cheeks. After what seemed like a long time, my sobs turned to hiccups, and I wish I had run out of the rec hall without my purse. I could really use a Q-tip. Here, you look like you need this. Nala complained as I jumped in surprise at the voice and blinked through my tears to someone handing me a tissue. Thanks, I said, taking it and wiping my nose. No problem, Eric Knight said. That's where we'll leave off until chapter 18.